Alrighty, let's see what we got today. Hinterlands and Alchemy. Okay. No landscapes or anything with those two expansions. For draw, there's Scrying Pool and Apprentice. For villages, Inn and Border Village. For trashing, Apprentice and Spice Merchant. And for plus buy, Nomads and Spice Merchant. 2 of each. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward to me, I would think. Scrying Pool, I think, looks pretty good here. Gonna want some amount of Border Villages and Nomads. A Spice Merchant for trashing the coppers. Probably an Apprentice to deal with the estates. A Scheme is nice to put a Scrying Pool on top. You can see most of the Kingdom cards coming up. Not Philosopher's Stone, of course. That card is terrible. How to open? I think Potion plus Oasis seems good. In the short term, Oasis is like a poacher. If you have an estate that you can discard, and the discard's not a downside. In the long term, Oasis is worse than something like Poacher or Peddler. But in the long term, I plan to have Scrying Pools and more draw than I need. Oasis in general a pretty weak card, but I think here makes some sense. Alternatively, Spice Merchant Oasis or Spice Merchant Silver, trying to get to 5 sooner for Apprentice and adding a potion later. Could also be the order of operations. I think I'm going to say Potion first, not confident on that. I'll add a Spice Merchant next time. Oh no! Don't like seeing 2 here very much. Okay. And I was just talking about how Oasis is like a poacher, and it managed to prove me wrong on the very first shuffle. If that were a poacher, I would have 6 now and can get a Border Village. Alright, well, I'll go ahead and buy an Apprentice. Turns out the potion opening was what got me to 5. Okay. Take a Scrying Pool now, and then a Spice Merchant. Bot's got a Nomads already. Interesting. Bot seems to not be going for Potion at all. I think Scrying Pool looks good here. The only other draw is Apprentice, which is a good card to kick off a turn, but comes at quite a cost. Next item on the agenda, I think, is I'd like to hit 6 and do like Border Village plus Nomads. I could even just buy Nomads. Border Village will let me play the Nomads and also play the Spice Merchant for coins and buy instead of card in action, if that comes up. Bot's trashing its Nomads. You do get a bunch of money back off of that. Although Nomads is a card I think you'd want to keep around here. I mean, this Apprentice Border Village stuff, at the cost of cannibalizing the deck a bit, it's got 3 Border Villages already. Bot's deck is doing things. I should change the order here. I want to do Oasis first, then Apprentice, otherwise I have to discard. 8 money is enough for a Scrying Pool and a Border Village. I could actually do Border Village, Nomad Scrying Pool, even with 6 money and a potion, which I think is probably what I'm doing anyway here. Border Village, Nomad, Scrying Pool. I think I want to scheme it at some point. I don't know when to fit that in, but I'd love to top deck a Scrying Pool each turn just to avoid a dud scenario. I'm overdrawing, so I'm not convinced that I even want to trash a copper here for free with the Apprentice. The money might just be more important. So what am I buying? Border Village Nomads cost 6. No, it costs 4. Yeah, what about a Border Villager and Nomads? Unfortunately, I would do that again if I could, but I need to have 6 money to get the 2 back. I'm not dying to add another scrying pool here, just because I think I'm drawing plenty and I want to up the payload. Although, just like buying a 3 cost and a scrying pool looks like a pretty natural set of additional buys here. I could do a Nomads, which functionally costs 2 and a 3 cost. Question is, can I play that Nomads if I'm not adding a village alongside it? I think the answer is no. I can always apprentice it. I'm going to take a scheme and a scrying pool. This might be overly conservative. I think I should be drawing more than sufficiently here. Bot's got a cartographer. Exciting. So it seems like the goal of hard bot's deck is just find an apprentice in a border village or something. Apprentice your border village and that draws your deck and then go from there. I managed to hit 12 there without drawing anything. I don't think I would have thought to do something like this, but it looks like the bot's no potion apprentice deck is doing pretty alright. This is hard bot's card, right? Yeah, I'm choosing whether to top deck. I'll leave the copper on top. The upside of my deck is I'm just beyond reliable at drawing everything. I'm going to be a little bit slower at adding payload, so I don't want to fall too far behind on that. I think that's the biggest risk here. I could even see trashing a potion maybe if it makes a difference. Just take the last 2 border villages. This isn't opening up a pile out, is it? No, I don't see one. Yeah, I'm going to undo this. Or how far back do I have to undo? I think I'm going to trash the potion and just live with 5 scrying pools, which hopefully is enough. I think my main way to lose this game would be not adding enough money. And trashing a potion versus a copper is leaving 1 more money in my deck, and it lets me buy an Oasis or a silver. I'm going to buy a silver. Obviously silver has some anti-synergy with scrying pool, but I'm predicting that I just have more than enough draw to not have to worry about that. I don't trust Hardbot's deck to draw as consistently as mine. It's got to find one of its 3 apprentices. Has it put any in the... That's not the trash pile. Has it put any in the trash? That's not the trash. There's the trash pile. No, okay, yeah. It has 3 apprentices. You line up an apprentice with a border village, you kick off your turn. That's not as consistent as scheming a scrying pool. But when it does its thing, it was making like 12 money a turn or more, and I was only making 10. And so I think getting up to bigger numbers seemed more important than keeping a deck that's for sure going to draw. Plus I'll be trashing these last few coppers incrementally anyway. Okay, the bot buys a Nomads and 2 golds. Yeah, just a very greedy set of buys. It just keeps adding payload. And with a good draw, Hardbot's deck can draw all that. I think I want to leave a gold on top. Minimize the chance it finds things. In general with Scrying Pool, you're probably both playing with Scrying Pool, and the answer is almost always just discard actions, leave non-actions on top. If you're playing versus big money, then you might want to deny the gold. The bot's deck seems closer to an engine. Like I'm imagining if it has a border village in hand but no apprentice, I'd be very happy to leave a gold on top so it doesn't find an apprentice to kick off the turn. If I had multiple Oases, there's potentially another way you could top deck scrying pools here, which would be like discard 2 scrying pools with a Oasis, then play 1 scheme, and then the other scrying pool will be left on top. I just don't have quite enough Oases to do that. Maybe I could add 1. It's like a scheme. Takes a little bit extra work. Okay, I have 16 money. Kind of want that last Nomads. How many buys does Hardbot have? I have 4 of the Nomads. The trash has 1 of the Nomads. The supply has 1 of the Nomads. So the bot has 4 Nomads in its deck and 1 Scrying Pool. So at absolute maximum, I can buy 6 things. If I buy Nomads here, I'm not at risk of losing on an Apprentice Pilot or anything. That's also a huge amount of money. If I add this Nomads, I can't actually play the Nomads and everything else. I could not play the Spice Merchant, or I could trash the Nomads to get 2 money back from Apprentice if I wanted to do that. Kind of like the idea of adding a second Oasis and then using it to top deck a second Scrying Pool. I could add a Nomads in an Inn. Inn also does the same thing that Oasis I was discussing, which you could pitch 2 Scrying Pools, then draw 1. Inn's kind of expensive. Wouldn't mind taking a Province here. It's about time to start scoring. Could be Province Nomads Inn. Province Nomads 2 Oases. I think I like that. I'm hoping Hardbot's deck has less longevity to it, because it does have to constantly trash things to keep going. I'm not threatening a state pile out, am I? I had 6 buys last turn. I think I still only have 6 buys this turn. I added a Nomads, but I can't play it unless I forego playing one of the other plus buy cards. If I took 2 estates to try to open up a state pilot for myself, I think I would have opened up a state pilot for Hardbot. That situation might change here now that it's trashed its Spice Merchant. Alright, just about drawn its deck. Yep, drew everything except for the copper. And hit double Province. Okay, I need to think real fast whether Hardbot can do triple Province on a good day. I think the answer is no, right? Just checking again, there's 1 Nomads in the trash. So Hardbot still has 4 Nomads, doesn't have the Spice Merchant anymore, which it trashed. So I had 13 money in treasures, plus the 4 Nomads got it to exactly 21, and it played all 4 of them. Didn't add any money, and it's not net making any more money by apprenticing the Nomads versus playing them, because it's 2 money either way. So Hardbot absolutely cannot do 3 provinces. So presumably the goal of my turn is to take 2 provinces here, I think. And that should put Hardbot in an awkward situation. I have 5 total Scrying Pools. I want to hopefully play fewer than all of them if at all possible. Top deck the silver. Can I draw here without playing it? I think the answer is going to be no. This is all of my stop cards. 3 coppers, a silver, Province, Down there is one more scrying pool, one apprentice, one nomads, and a border village, I think. I'm going to do this. And the goal in the ideal case was to discard 2 scrying pools, trigger a shuffle that topped up the scrying pool. I think I might just not quite have drawn well enough to do that. What did I just say? Border village, nomads, scrying pool. It's not a border village. This is all my border villages. It's a 3rd oasis, okay. So yeah, I can go ahead and discard this, then play this. I was really hoping to draw into the oasis and the nomads and not find the scrying pool. If I find the scrying pool, I just play it. It's no big deal. I'm not going to get to set one up for next turn. Like here, even if I discard it, I have no way to trigger that shuffle. No biggie. Okay, so I can play nomads for 2, or I can apprentice trash the nomads and play Spice Merchant for an extra money, if I'd prefer to do that. Let's see, I've got 11 plus 5, 16, so 18 or 19 money. Or potentially 17, I guess, if I don't play either. There'd be no reason to play this. If I played Spice Merchant and then didn't trash the nomads, that's just the scenario where I'd make 17. Like I just want to get a copper out of my deck. I don't think getting to 19 is doing anything special for me. I think I'm buying 2 provinces either way. I could buy a silver with the 2 money, but if I have to leave the nomads in my deck, that's 2 money next turn if I need it. So I think I'm definitely not trashing nomads this turn. That also leaves open the possibility of maybe apprenticing a nomads if I'm low on draw. So now the question is 17 or 18, which I think those numbers make no difference, and it's just a question of whether I want to trash a copper or not. Which I think I'm fine with doing. I can trash 1 copper and still potentially hit 18 next turn if I draw everything. And 18 is enough for like Province Double Duchy if that ends up being relevant. But given that I just added 2 victory cards to my deck, I think thinning coppers is helpful here. Interesting. Very interesting. Harbach goes with a duchy. Wonder if that's correct. It definitely seems uncharacteristic of Hardbot in my experience. I find that Hardbot almost always takes the more aggressive lines. Lowers piles very cavalierly, and then just hopes that you have a dud and takes advantage if you do. So I would expect it to buy a province there and then try to win if I whiff. But it's playing around the double province line. The thing that makes me wonder, though, is it hasn't really taken enough points to be safe if I just double province anyway. Definitely discard that apprentice. So I played 3 of my scrying pools. Okay, this time I can do the thing. So I want to play all of my oases. Well, first let me think about what I'm buying here. Absolute maximum output of Hardbot's deck is 21 money. So if I buy 2 provinces, the best case scenario for Hardbot is like province, 2 duchies, and an estate, which is losing. So yeah, I think the answer is I just buy 2 provinces. If the bot drew its deck here and bought multiple duchies, I think that would be very sensible. Like take a point lead, but just 1 duchy is not like the goal of not buying a province presumably is to not lose to a double province. But here I think Hardbot just de facto loses anyway by virtue of not having a response. Okay, so I'm definitely buying 2 provinces. I don't think I'm buying. I was imagining a scenario where I need to buy like 2 provinces and an estate, but I don't think an estate's going to matter, so I'm not going to do that. So I don't need to trash a nomads this turn, so I'm just going to discard the apprentice, discard the scrying pool, discard the scrying pool, play. Oh shoot! God dang it! I did this wrong. I have to play all the border villages because I didn't mean to play that. I need to play all the nomads. I might have drawn too many cards there to even make it viable. I'm never going to successfully demonstrate how to top deck the scrying pools. In theory, you play the border villages, then you play the oases, then you discard 2 scrying pools and apprentice. You play a scheme. You draw 1 of those 3 cards, leaving the other 2 on top. That was the goal at least, and I didn't do it correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I just need 17. Apprentice, trashing nomads, plus spice merchant could be 18 if I wanted an estate, but I don't think I do. Top deck scrying pool. Whoo! Look at that hand. You don't even need to top deck scrying pools. They do it all on their own. Okay, so Hardbot's going to have a good turn. But I think the best its deck can do is 13 points. Now it's going to take a minute contemplating its own mortality. It'll probably buy the last province. Hardbot can't resign, but it can in the game in losing situations if it doesn't see a viable way forward, which I expect might happen here. It's still not totally lost. You know, if Hardbot buys a few duchies and then I had just a total dud turn, it could win. So if it plays on, that wouldn't be shocking. But I think the odds of it winning are low enough that I wouldn't be surprised at a province buy here. A tie? Well, this is still a win. But apparently I did miscount somewhere. I thought it had 21 money and it's... Oh, did it add some money last turn? Is that what I missed? It bought a silver, so it had 23. And... yeah, 23 is enough for province, triple, duchy. Okay, yeah. Definitely an error on my part to just totally forget about the silver. I remember buying the duchy, and then it just sat there for a while, and I think I just never paid attention to what it followed up the duchy with. So in a real game, I think I would chalk up that last turn as an error because I definitely was in a winning position, and a tie would normally be like less than you're looking for, and I could have prevented this tie by buying that last estate. If I had trashed the nomads to get up to 18, 2 provinces estate would put me out of tying range, because this is best case scenario for Hardbot. As it turns out, in the daily, a tie counts as a win anyway, so this is fine. But yeah, I totally overlooked this. Also, Hardbot's deck, I don't think I would have ever skipped Scrying Pool here, but it managed to get something going with just apprentices and border villages that was better than I anticipated. So I think there's more merit to this than I would have guessed if you'd asked me at the start.